First contact. Captain Maya Rise stood at the viewport of the ESS Horizon, watching as the stars stretched into infinite lines of light before snapping back to their stationary brilliance. The ship had just completed its final jump, arriving at the coordinates specified in the mysterious transmission they'd received 3 weeks ago. "Jump complete, Captain," Lieutenant Keller announced from the navigation console. "We've arrived at the designated coordinates." Maya nodded, her dark eyes scanning the sensors. "Any sign of the vessel that sent the transmission?" "Nothing yet," said Commander Davi-Chen, her XO, as he reviewed the sensor data. "But there's some unusual energy readings coming from the fourth moon of that gas giant." He pointed to a swirling blue planet dominating the view screen. Maya tapped her neural interface, bringing up the ship's full sensor suite directly to her optic nerve. The augmentation had been controversial when she'd received it. Many humans still resisted such deep technological integration. But in moments like this, the ability to process vast amounts of data instantly proved invaluable. "I see it," she said, focusing on the anomalous readings. "Whatever's generating that signature, it's not using any propulsion system we're familiar with." Communications Officer Park's console lit up suddenly. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. Same encryption pattern as the original message." Maya straightened her uniform, smoothing down the midnight blue fabric emblazoned with the Earth-Space Alliance insignia. On screen, the view screen flickered, revealing a humanoid figure shrouded in shadows. Only the outline was visible. Tall, slender, with an oddly elongated head. When it spoke, the universal translator struggled momentarily before producing a voice that was neither male nor female, yet somehow both. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Cirrus, representative of the Valkyrie Collective. We appreciate your prompt response to our invitation." Maya stepped forward. "I'm Captain Maya Rise of the Earth-Space Alliance vessel Horizon. We've come as requested to establish diplomatic relations." The figure seemed to shift slightly, the shadows never quite revealing its features. "We have much to discuss, Captain. My vessel will transmit docking coordinates. I believe it would be beneficial for us to meet in person." There was something in the way Cirrus spoke, a tension, perhaps even fear, that Maya's years of diplomatic training immediately recognized. Whatever had brought the Valkyrie to seek out humanity, it wasn't simple curiosity. "We look forward to meeting you," Maya replied carefully. "We'll prepare a suitable reception." After the transmission ended, Maya turned to her senior staff. "Thoughts?" Dr. Eliza Okafor, the ship's xenobiologist, was the first to speak. "They're hiding something. That visual distortion wasn't just poor transmission quality. They're deliberately concealing their appearance." "Could be cultural," suggested Security Chief Rafael Torres. "Some species consider direct visual contact intimate or threatening." Commander Chen crossed his arms. "Or they know their appearance might frighten us." Maya considered these possibilities. In the 15 years since humanity had ventured beyond their solar system, they'd encountered 12 non-human intelligent species. Some meetings had been peaceful, others decidedly less so. The scars on her left shoulder, courtesy of a Tescan warrior during a first contact gone wrong, served as a permanent reminder of the risks. "We proceed with caution," she decided. "Chief Torres, standard security protocols. Dr. Okafor, I want you ready to analyze whatever data we can gather about their biology. Commander Chen, you'll accompany me along with a small team." 3 hours later, the Horizon was docked alongside the Valkyrie vessel, a strangely organic-looking ship that seemed to pulse with an internal light. The docking tube extended, creating a seamless passage between the two ships. Maya led her team through the tube, noting how the lighting dimmed as they crossed the threshold into the Valkyrie vessel. The air carried a faint scent of ozone and something else, something almost like cinnamon but sharper. "Atmospheric composition is breathable," Dr. Okafor confirmed, checking her handheld scanner. "Slightly higher oxygen content than we're used to, but within safe parameters." They were met by 2 figures in flowing gray garments that concealed their forms completely. Even their hands were covered in what appeared to be fitted gloves with only 4 digits visible. Captain Reyes, one of them spoke, the same voice they'd heard in the transmission. "I am Ceres. Welcome aboard the Luminance." Maya stepped forward, offering the universal greeting gesture, right hand open, palm facing upward. "Thank you for your invitation, Ceres. We're honored to be the first humans to make contact with the Valkyrie." Ceres hesitated before mirroring the gesture with his 4-fingered hand. "The honor is ours. Please, follow me." They were led through corridors that seemed to be grown rather than built, the walls curved and seamless, pulsing occasionally with the same internal light they'd observed from outside. Maya noticed how her officers kept their hands close to their weapons, even as they maintained diplomatic smiles. The central chamber they entered was spacious, with what appeared to be liquid metal furnishings that solidified into chair-like structures as they approached. "Please, be seated," Ceres gestured. "These will conform to your physiology." Maya sat cautiously, surprised when the metal shifted beneath her, creating a perfectly supportive chair molded to her exact dimensions. Impressive technology. "A simple application of responsive materials," Ceres replied, taking the seat across from her. The second Valkyrie remained standing by the entrance. Under the better lighting of the chamber, Maya could make out more details of their host. Though still mostly concealed by the flowing garments, there was a distinct blue-gray tinge to the small patch of skin visible around what she presumed were eyes. Deep-set and reflective, like polished silver. "I imagine you have many questions," Ceres began. "Naturally," Maya replied, "starting with why the Valkyrie Collective has sought contact with humanity specifically. We're relatively new to interstellar travel compared to some other species in this sector." Ceres's garments shifted as though he had taken a deep breath. "That is precisely why. Your species is unique. You've advanced remarkably quickly since your first FTL jump, and you've shown an unusual adaptability in your interactions with other species. You've been observing us," Maya stated, not entirely surprised. "Yes, from a distance. It's important that you understand. We've come to you out of necessity, not choice." Commander Chen leaned forward slightly. "Are you in some kind of trouble?" The silence that followed was heavy. Finally, Ceres spoke, his voice lower than before. "The Valkyrie are refugees, Captain. We are fleeing from a force that has already consumed 3/4 of our territory in the past decade. A force that will eventually reach your space, whether we lead them there or not." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. "You're at war." "No," Ceres corrected. "War implies some possibility of victory. This is extinction. They call themselves the Dominion, and they do not negotiate, they do not compromise, and they do not stop. And you've led them straight to us," Torres said, his hand now openly resting on his sidearm. "Chief," Maya cautioned before turning back to Ceres, "what exactly do you want from humanity?" Ceres leaned forward, the movement causing his hood to shift slightly, revealing more of his face. Angular, with what looked like fine scaling along the jawline. "An alliance, Captain Reyes. But more than that, sanctuary. The Valkyrie possess technologies and abilities that the Dominion seeks to harness. We believe that humanity, with its unique approach to problem-solving and its unpredictability, might succeed where our more conventional defenses have failed." Dr. Okafor's scanner beeped softly, drawing everyone's attention. She looked up from the device, her expression puzzled. "I'm sorry, but I'm detecting some unusual readings from our host. Ceres, your cellular structure appears to be in a state of constant flux." The second Valkyrie moved suddenly, stepping forward with a grace that seemed almost liquid. "This discussion has gone far enough for now." Ceres raised a hand. "It's all right, Vela." He turned to Maya. "The doctor's observations are correct. The Valkyrie physiology is complex. It is also one of the reasons the Dominion hunts us so relentlessly." Maya studied Ceres carefully. "What aren't you telling us?" "Many things, Captain. Some for your protection, Some because you wouldn't believe me without proof I'm not prepared to offer yet. Cirrus stood, the movement unnaturally smooth. You should return to your vessel now. I've transmitted data about the Dominion to your ship's computers. Review it. Discuss it with your leadership. If you decide to help us, we can continue our conversation. Maya stood as well, recognizing the diplomatic dismissal. We'll review your information. But I need more than vague warnings if I'm going to recommend an alliance to my government. Cirrus tilted his head, the silvery eyes catching the light. Of course. Tomorrow, if you're willing, I would like to come aboard your vessel. Alone. There are things I can show you that may help you understand our situation better. The request was unexpected. Allowing an unknown alien aboard the Horizon went against basic security protocols, but Maya sensed this might be their only chance to get real answers. Very well. 900 hours. Our time. As they were escorted back to the docking tube, Maya noticed how the corridor seemed different, narrower, with a subtle red tinge to the internal lighting that hadn't been present before. When she mentioned this to Dr. Okafor, the xenobiologist nodded. The entire ship appears to be responsive to the emotional state of its occupants. I suspect it's either biological or biomechanical in nature. Back aboard the Horizon, Maya called an immediate debriefing in the secure conference room. The ship's eye, Athena, projected a holographic representation of the data Cirrus had transmitted. Initial analysis confirms the existence of this Dominion, Commander Chen reported. They've left a trail of destroyed or abandoned worlds across what was apparently Valkyrie space. The devastation is extensive. Dr. Okafor added, the biological data is fascinating. The Valkyrie appear to be metamorphic at the cellular level. Their entire physiological structure can reorganize itself, though the data is incomplete on the extent or purpose of these changes. Security Chief Torres was less impressed. This could be an elaborate trap. They could be running from something because they're the aggressors, not the victims. Maya nodded, acknowledging all perspectives. Athena. Analysis. The ship's AI manifested as a translucent blue figure at the head of the table. The data appears authentic based on cross-referencing with our existing stellar maps and known phenomena. However, Chief Torres raises valid security concerns. I recommend caution in proceeding with further engagement. Maya drummed her fingers on the table, a habit from her academy days. Something doesn't add up. Why us? There are dozens of more established, more powerful species they could have approached. Perhaps, Dr. Okafor suggested, it's precisely because we're not established. We're adaptable, unpredictable. Many of the older species follow rigid diplomatic and military doctrines. Maya's neural interface pinged with an alert. Athena, what is it? Sensors detect a small object approaching the Valkyrie vessel. It appears to be a probe of unknown origin. The conference room view screen activated, showing a metallic sphere approximately 1 meter in diameter decelerating as it approached the luminance. Before they could react, the Valkyrie ship's outer hull seemed to ripple, and a burst of energy engulfed the probe, vaporizing it instantly. That, Maya said quietly, was not the defensive response of someone who's bluffing. She made her decision. Prepare for our guest tomorrow. I want to hear what Cirrus has to show us. As the others filed out, Commander Chen remained behind. Maya, he said, dropping formal address now that they were alone. I've served with you for 6 years. I know that look. She smiled faintly. What look? The one that says you're about to trust your gut over protocol. The same look you had on Tuscan Prime before you walked unarmed into that war council. Maya absently touched the scars on her shoulder. And we prevented a war. After you nearly died, Chen reminded her, whatever the Valkyrie are hiding, it's big. Be careful. Always am, she replied, though both knew it wasn't entirely true. Later that night, unable to sleep, Maya stood at her quarters viewport, staring at the luminance. The ship's organic hull pulsed with a gentle blue glow that somehow seemed sad to her human eyes. Whatever Cirrus was hiding, whatever the Valkyrie were running from, Her instincts told her this was just the beginning of something that would change humanity forever. She only hoped they would survive the change. The warning. The following morning, Maya waited in the Horizon's main docking bay, flanked by Security Chief Torres and Dr. Okafor. The rest of the security team remained at a discreet distance, weapons powered down but ready. Valkyrie shuttle approaching docking port. Athena announced through the ship-wide communication system. Single occupant detected. Maya straightened her uniform. Remember, we're looking for answers, not confrontation. Torres grunted. Still don't like this, Captain. Noted, Chief. Maya replied with a small smile. She'd chosen Torres for her security team precisely because of his healthy paranoia. It balanced her own occasional tendency to take risks. The airlock cycled open with a soft hiss, revealing Ceres. Today, the Valkyrie wore a simpler garment, still concealing, but less formal than the flowing robes from their first meeting. The fabric seemed to shift colors subtly as he moved, from deep blue to purple and back again. Captain Reyes. Ceres inclined his head. Thank you for allowing me aboard your vessel. Welcome to the Horizon, Maya replied. These are Chief Security Officer Torres and Dr. Okafor, whom you met yesterday. Ceres acknowledged them with a gesture that resembled a bow. Your ship is different from what I expected. More organic in its design than most human technology. The Horizon is our newest diplomatic vessel, Maya explained as they began walking toward the conference room. Designed with comfort and adaptability in mind, rather than military efficiency. A wise choice, Ceres commented. The spaces we inhabit shape our thinking more than most realize. As they walked through the corridors, Maya noticed how crew members tried not to stare at their visitor, though few succeeded entirely. First contact situations were rare enough to cause excitement, even among a trained crew. In the conference room, Maya dismissed Torres and his security team, though she knew they would be monitoring closely from outside. Dr. Okafor remained, her scientific expertise essential for understanding whatever Ceres had come to share. Yesterday, you mentioned there were things you could show us. Maya began once they were seated. We've reviewed the data you provided about the Dominion, but there are significant gaps. Ceres nodded, the movement causing the fabric covering his head to shift slightly, revealing more of his face than before. In the ship's lighting, Maya could see that what she'd taken for scaling was actually a pattern of raised markings along the blue-gray skin, almost like bioluminescent circuitry. The Dominion originated in what you call the sickness arm, Ceres began. They are not a species but a collective. Multiple species join through a technological and biological process that erases individuality in favor of perfect efficiency. Like a hive mind? Dr. Okafor asked. Similar, but more complex. Individuals retain a form of consciousness, but it's subordinated to the collective will. Ceres paused. They began as a response to an existential threat, a gamma-ray burst that destroyed their original homeworld. The survivors merged with their technology to escape, and in doing so, created something new. And now they're hunting your people, Maya prompted. Ceres's silver eyes seemed to darken. Yes, the Valkyrie possess something they want, something they believe will perfect their collective. Which is? Ceres hesitated, then reached up to remove his hood entirely. Maya controlled her expression, but couldn't help the slight widening of her eyes. Ceres's head was elongated, with no hair, his skin a luminescent blue-gray covered in intricate patterns that pulsed with inner light. The face was almost human in its arrangement of features, but the proportions were different. Larger eyes set wider apart, a narrow nose, and a mouth that seemed to have too many joints to be natural. Our adaptability, Ceres said simply. The Valkyrie evolved on a world with extreme environmental fluctuations. To survive, we developed the ability to change. Dr. Okafor leaned forward, her scientific curiosity overriding any discomfort. Change how, exactly? Instead of answering verbally, Ceres raised one hand and removed the glove. What happened next made both humans instinctively recoil. The four-fingered hand rippled, the skin tone shifting from blue-gray to match Maya's own olive complexion exactly. The fingers elongated, a fifth digit growing seamlessly until Ceres's hand was an exact replica of a human hand, down to the faint birthmark Maya had on her wrist. "This is a simple demonstration," Ceres said, his voice unchanged despite the transformation. "A surface alteration. Our capabilities go much deeper." Maya found her voice. "You're shapeshifters. That term simplifies what we are. But yes." Ceres's hand reverted to its original form, the process taking only seconds. "The Valkyrie can adapt not just our appearance, but our entire biology. Different atmospheric conditions, gravity, temperature extremes, we can survive where other species cannot. And the Dominion wants this ability," Maya guessed. "They want to integrate it into their collective," Ceres confirmed, "to become truly universal in their ability to expand. They've hunted us to near extinction, capturing those they can for experimentation, killing those who resist." Dr. Okafor was making notes rapidly on her tablet. "But surely they must realize that such biological integration would be incredibly complex, even with advanced technology." "They have succeeded partially," Ceres interrupted, his tone grim. "Those they've captured and processed have given them limited versions of our abilities, enough to make them more dangerous, not enough to satisfy them." Maya processed this information, her mind racing through the strategic implications. How many Valkyrie remain? Approximately 20,000, spread across 12 vessels like the Luminants. We are the last. The number shocked Maya. An entire civilization reduced to a population that would fit in a small Earth city. "I understand your situation better now," she said carefully. "But I still don't understand why you've come to humanity for help. We're not the most technologically advanced species, nor do we have the largest fleet." Ceres' expression changed subtly, the patterns on his skin pulsing more rapidly. "Because of what we observed in your history, Captain. Humans have faced extinction-level threats multiple times. Plagues, climate disasters, resource depletion. And each time, you've adapted. Not physically, as we do, but culturally, technologically, socially." He leaned forward. "The Dominion thinks in absolutes. Their strategies are perfect, but predictable. Humans are messy. You contradict yourselves. You make decisions based on emotions alongside logic. This unpredictability is something the Dominion has struggled against in the limited engagements they've had with your scout ships." This was news to Maya. "What engagements? We have no records of encountering anything like what you've described. 3 of your deep space expeditions in the past year encountered Dominion scout vessels. In each case, your ships took unexpected actions, irrational by most strategic analysis, that allowed them to escape what should have been certain destruction." Maya's neural interface pinged as Athena sent her the classified files Ceres was referencing, incidents that had been marked as encounters with unidentified phenomena, rather than hostile forces. "You've been monitoring our classified communications," she stated, not bothering to hide her displeasure. Ceres didn't deny it. "We needed to be sure before approaching you. The stakes are too high for blind faith." An alert chimed softly, and Dr. Okafor checked her scanner. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy fluctuations from our guest. They're similar to what I observed yesterday, but more pronounced." Ceres stiffened visibly. "I've been aboard your vessel too long. My control is slipping." "Control of what?" Maya asked sharply. "My form," Ceres replied, standing abruptly. "I must return to the Luminants." Maya stood as well, unwilling to let him leave when they were finally getting answers. "Ceres, if we're going to help you, we need to understand exactly what we're dealing with. What happens when your control slips?" For a moment, it seemed Ceres might ignore the question, but then he turned back to face her. "The form you see is not my natural state, Captain. It is a compromise, designed to be acceptable to most species." "And your natural state?" is something no non-Valkyrie has ever seen and survived to speak of. There was genuine regret in Ceres's voice, not because we harm them, but because the sight itself triggers psychological trauma so severe that most sentient minds cannot process it without breaking. Those few who maintain their sanity lose all trust in us, seeing us only as monsters to be destroyed. Maya considered this. That's why you hide. Not just from the Dominion, but from everyone. Yes, throughout our history, before we learned to maintain these forms, contact with other species inevitably led to conflict. Fear is a powerful motivator. Dr. Okafor's scanner beeped again, more urgently this time. These readings are intensifying. Whatever's happening, it's accelerating. Ceres's silver eyes had begun to emit an actual glow now, and the patterns on his skin pulsed faster. I must go. Now. Maya made a swift decision. Athena, clear all personnel from the route to the docking bay. Authorization raise Alpha 3. Acknowledged, Captain, the AI responded. Route cleared. Maya turned to Ceres. I'll escort you personally. As they hurried through the corridors, Maya noticed subtle changes in Ceres's appearance, his height increasing slightly, the proportions of his limbs shifting in ways that should have been impossible without breaking bones. How long can you maintain these forms? She asked as they approached the airlock. It varies, Ceres replied, his voice now carrying an undertone that seemed to resonate in Maya's chest rather than her ears. Days, sometimes weeks if necessary. But stress, injury, or certain types of radiation can accelerate the reversion. They reached the airlock, and Ceres paused before entering. Captain Rice, Maya, there's something else you should know. The Dominion doesn't just want our biological adaptability. They hunt us because they fear us. Fear you. Why? Ceres's form seemed to ripple slightly, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Because in our natural state, we are to most species what they are to you. An evolutionary leap so significant that it appears almost godlike. The airlock door slid open, and Ceres stepped inside. As it began to close, he added, if you decide to help us, I will share everything. But you should know, no one survives seeing a Valkyrie's true form. The mind cannot bear it and remain unchanged. The door sealed, leaving Maya staring at her own reflection in the polished metal. She stood there for a long moment, processing what she'd learned. Captain, Athena's voice interrupted her thoughts. Sensors detect 3 vessels entering the system at high velocity. Configuration unknown, but energy signatures are consistent with the Dominion profiles provided by the Valkyrie. Maya's training took over instantly. Battle stations. Alert the luminance. I'm on my way to the bridge. By the time she arrived, the main view screen showed 3 angular ships, matte black with glowing red lines running across their hulls, decelerating as they approached. Time to intercept, she demanded, taking her command chair. 17 minutes at current velocity, Commander Chen reported. They're not responding to hails on any frequency. The luminance is powering up what appear to be defensive systems, Lieutenant Keller added, but they're not making any moves to depart. Maya frowned. Establish a secure channel to Ceres. A moment later, Ceres's voice came through, sounding strained. Captain Rice, you must leave immediately. Those are Dominion hunter vessels. We're not running from a fight we don't understand, Maya replied firmly. What are their capabilities? What can we expect? Their technology exceeds yours in most respects, Ceres said. Energy weapons that can penetrate your shields, tractor systems that will immobilize your engines. Please, Captain, this isn't your battle. Maya looked at the approaching vessels, then at her crew, all watching her, waiting for her decision. In that moment, she knew that whatever she chose would define humanity's place in this conflict. It became our battle the moment they entered this system, she said. The Horizon was built for diplomacy, but she's still an Earth vessel, and we don't abandon those who ask for our help. There was a moment of silence from the Valkyrie ship. Then prepare yourselves, Ceres finally responded, his voice carrying both gratitude and resignation. What comes next will change everything you think you know about the universe. As if responding to his words, the lead Dominion vessel fired, not at the horizon, but at the luminance. The energy beam struck some kind of defensive field, creating a ripple of blue-white light across the Valkyrie ship's hull. "Shields at maximum," Maya ordered. "Offensive systems online. Target the lead vessel and prepare to fire." As her crew rushed to comply, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that she was stepping into something far larger than a simple defensive action. This was humanity's introduction to a war they didn't understand, against an enemy they couldn't comprehend, alongside allies who were keeping deadly secrets. And somehow, she knew that what Cirrus had revealed was only the beginning of the truth about the Valkyrie, a truth that might be more terrifying than the Dominion itself. The hunt. Evasive pattern Delta 6, Maya ordered as another energy beam from the lead Dominion vessel narrowly missed the horizon's port side. The ship shuddered as its inertial dampeners struggled to compensate for the sudden maneuver. They had been engaged in combat for nearly 20 minutes, and it was becoming increasingly clear that the horizon was outmatched. Their weapons barely scratched the Dominion vessel's defenses, while each enemy attack came closer to breaching their shields. "Shields at 47%, Commander Chen reported grimly. "We can't take much more of this." The Luminance wasn't faring much better. Though the Valkyrie vessel had more advanced defenses, it was clearly designed for stealth and speed rather than combat. Its organic hull rippled with damage where one of the Dominion beams had partially penetrated. "Captain," Communications Officer Park called out, "incoming transmission from the Luminance." Text only. Maya glanced at the message appearing on her command console. "Prepare for emergency WGMP. Coordinates follow. Soane Kuronis in 30 seconds." Below were jump calculations for a point several light-years away. "Can we make that jump with our shields compromised?" Maya asked, looking to her navigation officer. Lieutenant Keller's fingers flew over his console. "It's risky, Captain, but possible. The coordinates appear to lead to a nebula in the Carina sector." Maya didn't hesitate. "Upload the coordinates to the jump drive. All power to shields until the last moment. Then transfer to engines on my mark." The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, preparing for the desperate maneuver. On the view screen, Maya could see the luminance beginning to glow with the distinctive energy signature that preceded a jump. 20 seconds to synchronize jump, Keller announced. One of the Dominion vessels broke formation, accelerating directly toward the horizon. Its front section began to open like the petals of a mechanical flower, revealing what appeared to be a massive tractor emitter. "They're trying to prevent our escape," Chen warned. "Divert emergency power to the forward shields," Maya ordered. "Weapons, target that emitter. Fire everything we have." The horizon's defensive batteries unleashed a barrage of kinetic and energy weapons. Most were absorbed by the Dominion vessel's shields, but a few struck home, causing the opening mechanism to stutter momentarily. 10 seconds to jump. The Dominion vessel fired its tractor beam. The energy struck the horizon's forward shields, creating a cascading failure across the defensive grid. Shields failing. Jump drive power fluctuating. Maya gripped the arms of her command chair. "Stay on target. 5 seconds. The ship groaned as the tractor beam began to pull them off course, the jump drive whining as it struggled to build the necessary energy. 3, 2, 1. The universe seemed to fold around them, stars stretching into lines of light. For a terrifying moment, Maya thought the jump had failed. The transition felt wrong, rougher than normal, with a disconcerting twisting sensation that the inertial dampeners couldn't fully compensate for. Then, abruptly, they were elsewhere. The view screen showed a swirling mass of purple and blue gases, the nebula they targeted. "Status report," Maya demanded, unbuckling from her chair. "Jump complete, but with significant deviations from the calculated exit point," Keller reported, his voice shaking slightly. We're approximately zero point 0.7 light-years from our intended coordinates. Damage reports coming in from all decks, Chen added. No casualties, but engineering reports the jump drive sustained heavy damage. We won't be making another jump until repairs are completed. Maya turned her attention to the sensors. Any sign of pursuit? Or the luminance? No Dominion signatures detected. Torres reported from the security station. The nebula is interfering with long-range scans, but I'm not detecting the luminance either. Try all frequencies, Maya ordered. They might have experienced the same drift we did. For several tense minutes, the bridge crew worked in silence, searching for any sign of their Valkyrie allies. Finally, Park looked up from her communications console. "Captain,